Okay, guys, so now that we're done, we should be done with the short answer questions out of the DBQ packet, and we should be ready to move on to the next phase of this. If you guys remember when I laid out what the different, kind of benchmark assignment grades are going to be for this, we said that the short answer packet is going to be submitted and counted as classwork, and then the graphic organizer is going to be completed and submitted and you're going to get graded as classwork. And then third of all is going to be the essay itself. So that's the second of those graded assignments, the first being the short answer document packet. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use the short answer document packet and the task that you've already been given in order to complete this graphic organizer. So this graphic organizer is laid out in an attempt to help you structure the essay in a clear and logical way that is aligned with the task that you've been given. So if we just kind of go back real quick and just kind of revisit the task for a second, we see a couple different things. We see the historical context. We said that kind of sets the stage for the essay, gives you topic of discussion, and then it lists the task, and we went over these bullet points, and we said that each of these bullet points can be considered like one body paragraph. So what we've done is we've taken the graphic organizer and we've built the graphic organizer according to the task. So the graphic organizer is built with two body paragraphs in mind. First one where we discuss life during the Paleolithic era, and second one where we discuss life during the Neolithic era. So the other thing we do is if we go back and kind of look at the task again, it says we have to include evidence from at least 4 documents, right? So this is obviously what we need to know in order to figure out what needs to be included. So in the space for each body paragraph, there's space for 2 different pieces of document evidence. You can see that in those boxes here, right? So this is a good place to put document evidence when we need it. So basically, first body paragraph, Paleolithic, second body paragraph, Neolithic, and there's space for 2 documents in Paleolithic era and 2 documents for Neolithic era. So this will help us satisfy the requirements of the minimum number of documents to include in our writing. Now, we also said when we made the analogy between our essay and our house, we said that the document evidence is kind of the is the foundation upon which the house is built, and the walls essentially are outside information, right? And analysis is the roof. So we need a lot more than just document evidence, right? So the first thing we should pay attention to is the outside information. And the easiest thing to kind of turn to for help with outside information is this chart here. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to choose pieces of document evidence that answer, what was life like during the Paleolithic era. So plug those pieces of document evidence into your graphic organizers here in the appropriate places. And then you need outside information, right? So I think the easiest thing to use, like I said, is this graphic organizer from AIM 2.1 and 2.2. This kind of lays out all the different aspects of life, Paleolithic era to Neolithic era. And I do remember telling you guys when we were doing this, I was saying, hey, future assignments are going to use this, so make sure you do a good job on this. This is that future assignment now. So when we talk about what is the related outside information, when we discuss the Paleolithic life, all the different things that we should discuss are shelter, tech, food sources, and gender roles. And when we talk about the Neolithic era, we should be discussing shelter, technology, food source, and occupations, right? So these are the different things that should be included in the outside information boxes in your graphic organizer. So I expect when I read a paragraph about Paleolithic era, I expect to read about what was shelter like during Paleolithic era, what technology was available, what were the food sources, what did men do, what did women do. And then when you move on to discuss the Neolithic era, in the second body paragraph, I expect to read about shelter, technology, food sources, and occupations in the Neolithic life. So when we talk about, satisfying the requirement to address all aspects of the task, and you guys talked about how the difference between a poor DBQ and a good DBQ oftentimes was the amount of detail that's included. This is what we're talking about here. We need to have all of these details found in our essay in some way. So through the use of document evidence, outside information, and analysis, we should be hearing about all of these aspects for each era, Paleolithic and Neolithic. So in general, the idea is to use the document packet that we have for document evidence, and we should be using that graphic organizer from AIM 2.1 to complete the graphic organizer in preparation for the essay. So the expectation is that between today, Tuesday, when you guys are watching this, and tomorrow, Wednesday, September 30th, you guys are able to complete the graphic organizer entirely using the document packet and the graphic organizer from AIM 2.1. So you should be able to complete this entire sheet over the course of the next 2 days. So a couple of things to kind of pay attention to here. There's always some helpful hints and tips in the fine print here, kind of under each box, right? So basically for the intro, what we're doing is you need to reword the historical context and or tell the reader what the rest of the essay will be about. So if you look on the task page, we have that context here. So each essay kind of should begin with rewording this in your own words, because essentially what you're doing is you're telling the reader and also the grader who's grading the essay that you understand what the topic of discussion is, but you can put a thought together on your own. You don't need to read something and then copy it word for word into the intro. So that's why it's very important to reword it in your own words, because you're telling the reader that you understand what's being asked and what's being discussed here, and also you have the ability to put a couple of thoughts together on your own. So you're going to kind of preview the rest of the essay by restating the historical context. Myself, the reader, I should be able to read your introduction and then predict what I'm going to read about in the remainder of your essay. So essentially, if I cover the rest of the essay and I just read the intro, I should be able to say, okay, I'm going to read about A, B, C, X, Y, Z in this essay. And then if I go on and read about those things, that means the intro was good. So kind of preview what is going to be seen throughout the rest of the essay. And then the conclusion is very similar to the intro, but the only thing I wanted to point out is if we read the fine print for the conclusion here, it says reword the intro. Okay, great. And then why is this important today? If you remember the grading rubric, and I'll pull that back up here, the grading rubric, a big difference between a 2 and a 1.5, for example, is in regard to the conclusion, right? So a conclusion that goes beyond a restatement of the introduction and extends the conversation and brings something new, that's how you're going to get a 2. But if you simply just restate the intro, you're really kind of down here. You're in the 1.5 and 1 range, right? So you need to kind of bring something extra. And that's why in the graphic organizer here, there's some fine print that says, why is this important today? If you discuss something like that in your conclusion, you almost guarantee that your conclusion is bringing in something a little bit extra and kind of extending that conversation further. So that's kind of how the graphic organizer should be built. So a quick word on analysis. Now, I know we kind of discussed analysis a little bit, and we said it's kind of tricky to understand, and we said that analysis is kind of an inference that we can make about the topic based on the information we are discussing. So over here in each body paragraph, there's a box dedicated to analysis. At the bottom of your graphic organizer, I also included a whole bunch of analysis sentence starters. So these are kind of sentence stems that we can use in order to try to incorporate analysis into our essays in these boxes here. So there's a bunch of them here. You can look them over and kind of decide what you'd like to use. A good one is kind of if this never happened. If we speak in hypotheticals, that's almost always analysis because you're making an inference, right? You're saying, if this thing had never happened, then life would be different. How, right? Or what developments may not have taken place that came from that, right? That's analysis. So I want you guys, like I said, it's more about effort than perfection. I want you guys to try to include at least one piece of analysis in each body paragraph using those analysis sentence starters. So just keep in mind that analysis is really just an explanation of why your information is important or why we should care and why it is impactful. And you need to make sure that your analysis goes beyond a restatement of fact. And that's a hard thing to do, and I know that. And like I said, I want you guys to try it on your own, and then I will obviously give you some feedback on it and tell you, are you close? Are you there? How we can kind of make adjustments to kind of push your practice in the right direction and kind of, continue to sharpen our skills with that. So like I said, this is more about effort than perfection. Don't forget that. So you take advantage of the virtual office hours if you have any questions about how to build this, okay? Because I'm leaving you guys kind of a big task. Over the course of the next 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday, the expectation is that you're able to complete this graphic organizer. When we come back to class, regularly scheduled class on Thursday, we will go over next steps and kind of I will give you some tips and tricks about how to turn this graphic organizer into a draft. So I'm going to give you class time to be doing that stuff. So the expectation is only that you complete the organizer. You don't need to start writing the essay. I'm going to give you time in class to start doing that with my guidance so that we can kind of support each other throughout that process, okay? So I will be here in my virtual office hours if anyone has any questions. Don't be shy about dropping in if you need help or anything like that. I'll be happy to help you out. Other than that, you have the resources in order to complete this, and I will be here if you need help, all right? So good luck, and I will see you guys back again on Thursday. Take care.